I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're delving into a wonderful book that is called Overcoming by Marjorie Chilton. Set against the backdrop of World War II, this poignant book explores the lives of Serena and Glenna, two women bound by circumstance and the shared tragedy of war. As they navigate loss, motherhood, and the search for new beginnings, their journey transforms into a powerful testament to resilience and the strength found in unexpected friendships. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Marjorie, great to see you here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
What inspired you to write a story about World War II?
Well, I've always loved history, actually, but it was really sort of convenient, to write, because the towns that were and the people were involved in the story. It was just very convenient to have in this particular time in history. It's a very dramatic time in history, and I learned a lot of things that I didn't know. And I majored in social studies, but I did learn things from my research that I didn't know that happened then. So anyway, it was interesting for me.
Yeah, and it's interesting for us, your reader, when you rate your story about Serena and Glenna. Tell us what made you decide to craft a tale about these two women. Is there any inspiration behind it? Are they loosely based on some real life people you might know? Tell us about the origins of the story.
Well, I was a social worker, and so I have lived, social workers, their job is to help people. So I have lived that for many years. I mean, I'm retired now, but and I think that we all enjoy stories about people who are experiencing difficulties and need help to overcome them. So anyway, that's why.
Give us an overview of what the story Overcoming is all about.
Well, it's about two main locations in Southwest Virginia in the mountains. One is a village. It's called the Falls, and it's because there's a waterfall there, and it kind of grew up around that. And then later, a town was built called St. Clair. The name of the person who built the town was John St. Clair, and so he named it after himself. Town actually was inspired by a real town called Freeze, Virginia, which was built in the first few years of the 20th century by a man who cleared land, built a mill, a textile mill, and he built houses for workers. And it was a town that there were many people who came to this town to work who were also very talented musicians. And so my fictitious town of St. Clair is very much like that, although it started, it was built right after the Civil War because the government was encouraging people to establish businesses so that Southerners would have jobs. The South was pretty, devastated economically after the Civil War. And so, so this town was built, and in this fictitious town, talented musicians came, and so music has played a part in this town.
Absolutely. Another part of your story is the discovery of letters. Tell us about the role they play in your story.
Well, there's a mystery in this story. The story is about these two places, these two towns, and the relationships of people in these towns, in this town and village. But there is a mystery, and the reader will know what happened, but one of the people who is greatly affected by this, what happened, will not know. And so when you're reading the story, you're wondering, is she going to find out? And what and how is she going to cope in the meantime? Because she's having real difficulties.
Absolutely. Glenna's hope for a reunion is a central theme for the story as well. Tell us what you believe this hope represents for her and in the broader context of the novel.
Well, of course, her hope is for a reconciliation with her lover's child and her
Mhm.
child. Um, so uh,
It's just one of the intriguing elements, I guess, of your story that she lives with this hope. It's what propels her journey, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I, I said I have lived with these sort of things in social work.
Hmm.
Um, my people don't usually overcome things unless they have help. Overcoming them. They don't do it by themselves.
Right.
Last job I had was with the Department of as a social worker. Was the last in South Carolina. I worked with the Department of Social Services, and uh, I was a director of a teen pregnancy prevention program. It involved kids ages 12 to 17 whose families received food stamps or they received AFDC and food stamps. AFDC is Aid to Families with Dependent Children, but most people would refer to this as welfare.
Mhm.
Now, people, of course, did not have money. They didn't have the money to uh, buy their children nice clothes or pay for private music lessons or take them on vacations. And so these children, their worlds were very small. It was just school and home. And so the first thing we did was we had a program that the state gave us, and it was to help them to make better decisions. They had fun activities that helped them to make better decisions. Um, so after that, I signed them up with the 4-H people, with agricultural extension people, and the first thing they did was to raise a vegetable garden. The ag people taught them how to plant and take care of it. And at the end, they had vegetables to take home to their families.
Mm.
So, uh, and they were thrilled to do that. It kind of made their world a little bigger, you know. Also raised money and sent them to 4-H camp. This is another thing. They had never been able, many of them had never been out of the county or out of the city where they lived. You know, they didn't have the money.
Mm.
Uh, I remember going to meet the bus when those 4-H campers came home, and I heard them before I saw them. They were singing on the bus. The bus was just, they were just so happy.
Mm.
Feel really good. Um, we also took them to Furman University for an outdoor concert. We um, we had an artist come and teach them how to paint a picture of a an evergreen tree by a stream. He volunteered his time. Okay, I'm losing you. Let's
I'm here.
see.
I see you.
Oh,
No problem. Don't worry.
see me?
Yep.
I've totally lost you.
Okay. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
So
Well,
continue
anyway,
with your story about the 4-H.
okay. So, of course, they loved the 4-H program and they enjoyed the outdoor concert. We also took them to Ducktown, Tennessee, and we went whitewater rafting. So you can imagine how thrilled they were with that. And so you, one day, one of my outreach workers came in and said that when she picked up her children at school that day, picked up the children for the program, that a teacher took her aside and she said, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. She said,
Mm.
and she pointed out this one little boy without him knowing it, of course. And she said, he used to have real behavior problems. He doesn't have behavior problems anymore. The program had meant such a difference to him. And so that was thrilling for us to know.
Amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing the difference you can make in a person's life. When you were telling me the story, I kept on thinking of the quote, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. And that certainly is the work you have done there in helping people overcome. The name of this book is called Overcoming. It's written by Marjorie Chilton. It is set against the backdrop of World War II. It's an amazing story. It explores the lives of two women who are bound by circumstance and the shared tragedy of war. It's an amazing tale. It'll keep you turning the pages. And Hollywood, if you're listening, this is a great story that would work well as a movie or a TV series as well. Marjorie, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
thank you.
My pleasure. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.